to, in a few words, Todd, if you can just tell us a little bit about drive planning. What is drive planning? What do you do? And everything. That way we can like connect the bridge loan, the project with you guys.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you all. I appreciate you having me here tonight to join you guys. Thank you for taking the time. A little bit about myself very quickly is I kind of mentioned earlier, I'm an Atlanta native, and I've done business in Atlanta, grew up in Atlanta, and done business in Atlanta now for the past, I'm going into my 24th year in financial services, helping people to try to figure out and kind of answer a really central question: am I doing all the right things with my money? I think most people have some wondering if they're doing everything that they possibly can to create the best future and the best opportunity for themselves. And we have a financial planning process that that we'd love to share with you, that lays out all of the financial decisions that you have going on. It puts it on a very nice, concise model where you can see all of the moving parts of how you invest, how you protect your money, all of those different types of things. So that's the crux of what we do, is truly financial planning and helping people to do things to minimize taxation, to minimize loss in the stock market. And so as we're working through the model, we believe that it's very important for us to come up with projects or ways that you can invest that maybe you wouldn't ordinarily cross paths with in your normal day-to-day travels. Because our goal as we go through the model is to help you all create cash flow. And cash flow means money. And when you invest money, how quickly is that going to be paying you back? When is the money coming back to you? So many times people in our business, they say, yeah, send us the money. And, you know, hopefully in 30 or 40 years, we'll make you a good amount of money and then you can stop working and retire. That's not the planning that we do. That's not really the type of planning that we do. We want to see the investments and the things that the decisions that you're making impact you today. We want to have money flowing towards you today to enhance the lifestyle that you're creating and to enhance all of the things that you have going on, because, you know, 30 years is important, and that is important, and we still plan for those type of things, but living today is also important, and helping people to get out of the normal maybe 9-to-5 grind that oftentimes people exist in. And so we aim through projects like the one we're going to talk about tonight, or through real estate, or through other investment opportunities that are contractual in nature, which have some substance to them, that you're not just putting your money out there and just hoping that everything turns out okay. And so tonight you'll see some of the contractual language and things that we've put together for this particular investment. And frankly, it is a good opportunity. It's not too good to be true. It is true. It is. But, you know, we just want to explain and help you to understand why the numbers are what they are, because they are maybe better than what normal people would anticipate receiving through a bank or through the stock market or other risky type things. And so, again, I'm very thankful for you guys to be attending tonight and to listening. And we're hoping that we get a chance to serve you through, whether it's through this opportunity or through the other planning or other opportunities that we bring forth. So I'll kick it over to David. David, do you want to add anything to what I've said so far?
I think it's unusual to have, in a Latin context, more than one person named Maria. I'm just checking. My wife's named Maria. She's got like 4 names. She's from Guatemala. So it's like, it's just a joke. You say Maria and like half the room turns around, right? So, or Anna, right? So I want to just, I really appreciate Monica, because one of the things I really respect about her is she's very, very passionate about helping people and, you know, going out there, working hard. She came from a background where she was running dozens and dozens of offices, which blows my mind. So everyone who's on this call, She had you on here because she really wants to help you. And some of you, I assume, know her very well. Some of you maybe not know her as well, but I know she has a huge heart. I know for me, I've not been in financial planning as long as Todd. I started off as a pastor. And unfortunately, after 10 years, my wife, she left me and I had to fight to get my 5 kids. And God had a better woman for me in Atlanta. And so moved here and long story short, found a career working with Todd as we kind of kicked off and grew dry planning. What's really exciting, and again, I want to keep this brief because you're here to talk about one investment that we do, just one among many things that we do. But what I want to tell you is I want to just affirm something that probably most of you suspect in the back of your mind as you watch TV, as you read magazines in this culture, that there are people and there are opportunities to make money that most Americans don't have access to. That very, very, very wealthy people, they have a seat at the table to make really good and big money. And most of us have been raised just listening to what the media says and accepting it as true. And what am I talking about? Well, you can't grow your money at a bank because your money doesn't grow at a bank. You can grow your money in your house, but it doesn't grow very much. And it's kind of hard to get your money out of the house. And so the only third place that society tells us to put our money is the stock market. And we haven't had a market crash in 13 years. But why am I talking about that? Usually for most Americans, we've been told that the only legitimate place to put your money to grow is in the stock market, right? Raise your hand, say something, or beep or honk your horn, since most of you are hiding behind your names.
Honk, honk.
There you go. Honk, honk. Thanks. Is it DJ or is it Carlos or Carlitos or?
Carlos is fine.
Carlos. Okay. So bottom line, here's what I'm trying to get to. We have been told that about the best we can hope for is about 9 or 10% a year if we stay in the stock market all of our life until our hair is gray or it falls off like Todd's, right? So, guys, let me tell you, that is not the case. We're flying out to San Antonio next week to meet with some billionaires. And if we offered them 10% a year or even 15% a year on an investment, they would walk away and they wouldn't even be interested. Wealthy people have access to opportunities that most of us think is bogus or unheard of. So I'm just going to challenge you to put some cynicism aside and just hear out what we have to say. And if you have more questions, we're here to answer it. We're not here to pressure you. We're here just to explain. One thing I do want to say to everyone out here is that Todd and I and Monica, we eat what we serve. We eat what we cook up and serve to our clients, we eat it ourselves. And we are invested in this investment. In fact, we create these opportunities because we want to grow our money and we don't want to put it into the Wall Street casino, cross our fingers and hope that when we're old, it will have enough to live on until we die. So just wanted to say that. And one more thing, when I talked to Todd about creating the security side, the safety side of the real opportunity, I had one person in mind, and it wasn't me. I had one person in mind who really relies on me to take care of him, and that's my 81-year-old dad. And he was very involved in his church and very involved in giving a lot of money to missionaries. He was a dermatologist for 40 years, and he had a traditional advisor, and he's 81 and he doesn't have hardly any money. And so he asks me to manage his money. And I was trying to find a way to grow his money where he could live on it. But to put it in a place that was safe and secure where the risk was minimized to a very small thing. And so we met with several different groups of lawyers to try to find a way to make this very, very safe, very secure. Mm-hmm. And I know when you hear 10% in 3 months, how can that be? How could it even be safe? This is where I put my dad's money. a good bit of it to create an income stream for him every 3 months that he can live on. So that was one of the selfish reasons I got involved in creating that safety side of the investment. So anyway.
Thank you, David. So the real, you're gonna listen a lot about real, but real stands for Real Estate Acceleration Loan Program. So briefly, Todd, what is real? I mean, what is that? That bridge loan?
Sure. Yeah. A bridge loan in the most simple form is helping a developer, somebody that goes out and purchases land, gets it ready to do a project on. And usually these are bigger projects. Think of like apartment homes, neighborhoods, mixed use type communities, things
subdevelopments.
And so that developer, they are always moving from one project to the other, and they're closing out one and trying to get started on the other. And so oftentimes a bridge loan is necessary to bridge the gap between before the last project has ended to go ahead and get in and start the very next project. And back in 2008, when a lot of the financial collapse occurred, banks and the Obama administration really tightened up the regulatory environment of what was required of developers collateral wise, what was required of them down payment wise, and what was required of them from project management, and how quickly and how much oversight the government and the banks had to do in each project. So it really slowed down the process of them being able to finish up one and start another, because all of their money was tied up in this one project and they couldn't really move on to the second or third or fourth or fifth very easily. And so again, this is a very common thing that developers do. This isn't uncommon at all. And so the reason why this exists is to accelerate their business, to be able to do multiple projects at one time. Even during the COVID timeframe that we're in, the regulations started to heighten with traditional banks, and they were actually, and I think still are even, requiring COVID tests, and number of crews have to be limited. And so the banks are now required to go in and check on how these people are treating the COVID vaccine and how they're treating the COVID social distancing in the workplace on these construction sites. So it's really just muddied the waters a great deal. And so it's heightened the use of us helping find money and deliver money so that they can do more projects more quickly. So if this were the reason that the money is from you guys as the investor standpoint seems so good, 10% every 3 months, the reason why that seems so profitable is because you're actually getting to participate in the development, in the sale of the development and the start of the new. And so if this were just an interest rate, if somebody was paying for money, that would be a high number, you're right. But you're actually getting part of the gains on some of the developments that are going on. And so we've known this particular developer for quite a long time, probably 7-ish years. I've known him and personally done business with him. And the Embry companies, they have developed much of Atlanta that you guys probably may even live near or in or been through, of course. A lot of the buildings that are downtown, the great grandfather of this builder that I know, or the developer that I know, started. You might be familiar with East Lake. It's a portion of Atlanta that they are the very group that started the regentrification and kind of rebuilding of that area. You may be familiar with another section of town that's kind of just adjacent to Lenox Mall. It's called Embry Hills. They developed that entire community, and we're talking decades and decades ago. So these guys have been around a long time in the development of Atlanta and the outlying suburbs of Atlanta. So they're not a new group or anything of that nature. They're very well established. And so this opportunity allows us to provide them funds to do more deals more quickly. And you guys as investors, and us as investors, quite frankly, too, we benefit from the projects just like you guys will, on tidying up one project and helping get started with the next. And then the reason the return is so nice is because of the actual proceeds that come along with the sale of these different properties when they're all said and done. And so they do provide very substantial returns, and they're very good returns. And so we love being able to bring these type of opportunities to our clients, because again, like I started out with earlier, saying these probably aren't things that you guys would normally cross paths with in any given day. And so we're able to share these opportunities with you guys. It helps the developer, it helps us, it helps you. It's really just a really nice program to be a part of. And hopefully that explanation helps a little bit, in a sense of knowing you're not just lending money and charging an interest rate. You're actually participating in the process of real estate development and some really nice projects that go on. Current projects that they're doing right now, that's a common question that comes up, is there's apartment homes out in the Winder area. There's a lot of people moving out of the cities right now. There's some projects going on in South Carolina right now. One of the latest things that we are doing, that we're helping in a little bit closer than we normally do. We have a real estate division within Drive Planning that we wrote a contract this weekend for about $1 million worth of land up in the Blue Ridge area. So we haven't seen the final numbers come back, or if that contract was accepted, the offer was accepted on the land. But the goal there is to build an age-targeted community, a 55 and up style mountain community. That I don't know if you know a lot about that area, but the real estate there is booming. There's there's very much a shortage of inventory in homes and cabins and things up there. It's not uncommon for when cabins are built, or when cabins go on the market, rather, they sell within days. They go on the market and literally are put under contract by buyers within, if not the first day, second, third, or fourth is not uncommon at all. And so we're starting a new project up there with this group. So that to me is just some of the things that are on the horizon. But as we developed this, one of the things that David even alluded to was we wanted to give our people, you guys, quite frankly, another layer of security, not just to take our word for, boy, these are good people and everything's going to turn out great, et cetera, et cetera. We wanted to add an extra layer of security. And so these loans are backed up by actual real estate, actual property that is owned outright. And we have what's called a quick claim deed that's already in our possession. We have it. We can share it with you after the call. We can show you the packaging and material if we need to. But we have that as an extra layer of collateral, so that, just say for some reason things didn't go great, for whatever reason. We have never had this happen. But if for some reason that things didn't go well, we actually keep, as Drive Planning, we keep about $1 million in reserves to just do normal payouts and things for people. So we have actual cash money in reserves to do some of just the daily transactions of this type of investment, because we always have people's money coming in and out. But just supposing that things didn't go great, we have the right to foreclose on these properties that we are holding as collateral. And then we would then in turn sell the properties and pay off each individual person that was owed money. And so one of the reasons the name of the product that we've created here, the name of the investment that we've created, is the real, is because we believe investing in real things, real assets. Real estate is a tangible asset that people can look at, touch, feel, and it retains value. And so we have very current appraisals on all of these properties that are being held as collateral. And we wouldn't go into it if we didn't. And so we have very current appraisals, and we stay well underneath the threshold that we need to stay within to create a great sense of security for you guys, as well as ourselves, because again, it's our obligation to pay all of these people. We have our own money in these deals. And so we've created something here that I think is a very strong package for making a really nice return, but yet also having the ability to lay your head on the pillow at night knowing that things are going to be okay. Even if something crazy went on, we still have, again, our own cash on hand, but then even beyond that, we have the actual real estate as collateral that I mentioned earlier. So what typically happens in this process, let me just go one little step further. What typically happens is when someone invests money into this, we take the money, it's generally wired, just as that's the safest way to transfer money. And so once the money is wired, we then place it with the developer. That generally takes about 7 to 10 days. And within that time frame, you'll get a promissory note from us that lays out all of the returns that you'll get. It lays out what your rights are. It lays out what your collateral is. Again, like I described, if things were to go bad, again, never had that happen, but the note lays out everything that you would need to do or we would need to do in order to make this thing good. And about 40 or 50 days prior to the end of your 3-month time period, you'll get an email in an email that states you got a few options. Would you like to take and cash out and close out and high five and take your money and leave? Would you like just to take the interest that's produced, or would you like to take some other amount? Would you like to take, part of the cash or part of the interest and part of the actual principal that you put in? Everybody's financial situation is different, and sometimes we have people close them out at the end, and sometimes we have people go, you know what? No, things are okay. Just send me the interest. Or the last option is, no, I'd like to roll all of the principal and interest forward for another 3 months at the same rate of return. So it's very transparent in terms of your options, and you get that well in advance of your 3-month time period. And based upon whatever it is you decide to do, whatever's appropriate for you. And again, we're happy to work through some of that conversation with you. If you get out in that time frame and maybe you have other things going on in life, we're happy to sit down and go through that planning process that we described. But as you make your decision, online, you'll fill in your banking information if you need the money returned back to you immediately, and the money is put back in money, the interest or whatever your selection was, is put right back into your account, literally on the date or the day before. Sometimes we try to do it one day prior, just as a service to you guys. So that's kind of how it works. And again, so we'll open up now. I think there's maybe a couple of questions. If I miss something, let's go through and get every single question answered between while we're here.
Nice.
Let me just underline one thing Todd said, to be crystal clear. So some of my clients, maybe they have $80,000, $90,000 in savings. Well, they need an emergency fund, but they don't need that much of an emergency fund all the time. So the money sits in a bank and it doesn't grow. And so sometimes I'll say, look, let's take 20, 30, 40 grand, let's put it into the real opportunity. And at the end of 3 months, if we need it, we can cash out and it's right there. If not, we can let it keep going and keep growing. But it's a very flexible tool. And what's really cool about the risk side, everybody, this is important. The fact that it's only 3 months and you can be in and out in 3 months is such a big and really cool part. It's really unique to any investment we've ever seen, is it reduces the risk. Because, Todd said, if something went wrong with the real estate market, if something went wrong with the borrower, the Embry companies, something would have to go awfully wrong all in a 3-month period for you to lose your money. That is remarkable.
Things to go off the rails too far in 3 months.
Yeah, it's hard.
We saw it happen during COVID,
frankly. In 3 months,
things got crazy within 3 months during the COVID time frame. But just as in hindsight, we were doing these deals back then at that point,
Yeah.
and it worked, and things still played out fine, and everybody was made whole, and there was no issues or anything, even during as crazy a time as that could have been.
Nice.
So
And
during COVID, everything worked out. Nothing went sideways or under.
That's correct. Yeah, no, everything played out everybody was played out just as we had planned. So.
And that was, and DJ, I don't know how familiar you are with the real estate market, but that's when the Embry companies, they were trying to get these deals done, right? A lot of times they have to rezone properties and stuff, right? And the zoning commissions and the committees were not meeting. And so for a lot of real estate developers, things really got into slow motion. But, they were fine. Again, this company's been doing this for 3 generations or more. They've been in Atlanta over 70 years. They know what they're doing. And
plus us having our cash reserves also helps a great deal, because at any point in time, we have a tremendous amount of cash sitting on the sidelines, just as what we call in an escrow account. And an escrow account is money that is not invested in anything, quite frankly. It's in the safety of a traditional bank. Or we actually keep some with insurance companies also. And so we have that money sitting on the sidelines too, again, just in case, to be overly secure if people need to get out of the deal for whatever reason.
so what questions do y'all have?
What is the minimum investment?
So that's an interesting question. So with the printed and published minimum is $20,000, but we have allowed people like Monica to be willing to do 10,000. So we will offer that to you as well. So the published, we try to avoid having hundreds and hundreds of people putting in 10,000. But if that's something you wanted to do to get your feet wet and to try the water and test it out and see if you get your money back kind of thing. I know Monica did that. Monica got her money back. She can show you the wire transfer page. And so I've gotten, by the way, I've had most of my clients get their interest back. And they're like, David, why did you want us to do that? Why didn't you want us to compound it? I was like, well, I'd love for you to compound it, but I wanted you to see that you got your money. I wanted you to see that it works. And so after that, they can roll it over if they want to. But I've told my clients, look, take the interest check and put it in the bank if you want to, but I want you to know that it works. I want you to be confident in this. What other questions?
I do have a couple of questions. Good evening. I was a little bit late, so I'm not sure if you guys cover this, but question number 1 is, after the 3 months, like how many times can we roll over the investment?
Let me answer that just briefly. Great question. So in order to make this a very simple investment, and guys, let me just say this officially, this is not an investment, it's a loan. So technically you're loaning the money to this borrower. So, but for the sake of, it's easier to call it an investment. Everyone knows what it's like, right? So this investment, in order to make it so flexible and easy to get the money in and out in 3 months, what we've done is, in terms of state and government regulations, we have to cash you out after 9 months. Okay. So you can stay in it for 9 months, but we have to cash you out at the end of 9 months. Now, well, David, I wanted to stay in for another round.
Yeah.
Well, I call that a paperwork dance. Okay. If you want to stay in, we cash you out, give you a new promissory note, and you can go back in. Todd, I had a client that did that right during COVID. Remember, they cashed out and we put them right back in. So
It's just
you're in a
just
delay of about maybe 10 business days. Go ahead, Todd.
a regulatory thing that we have to do after 9 months. If you hold people's money on the same note for longer than 9 months, you're considered in the banking industry, and we're not a bank. We are fiduciaries. We have fiduciary responsibility for your money, but we're not a SEC regulated bank. So we don't have brick and mortar buildings that are banks. And so we're required to repaper, for lack of a better term. So
I like
the
paperwork.
short answer is 9 months, but we can make sure that if you want to keep going, we are happy to continue with you. So for as long.
And guys, just so you know, we hope this opportunity is going to be here for years. We've just added almost another $3 million of collateral from the borrower. People have been responding well. And, we hear this a lot. Well, if this is if this is what you say it is, everyone should do it if they hear about it. Well, a lot of people are. So we've had, it's when people get it and get their questions answered, they do it. And it's been great.
David, that's one of my questions. I'm sorry, Bunny.
Oh, sorry.
You have one more question and then I ask mine.
Oh, sorry. So the other question is, what do we get at the end of the year? Do we get a 1099 for the earnings, or how does that work?
Yeah, you will get on the application, we take in your tax ID or social security number. And so that allows us at the end of the year, you'll get a 1099 for the gain. And so you will treat that just like you would any other interest that you earn from any other investment or opportunity that you got anywhere else.
Todd, let me jump in on that just for a moment, because we have a Latin audience, and I'm assuming you guys have relatives that are not here in the United States. My mother-in-law is from Guatemala. We just got back. We were there for 10 days, and she's invested in this. And the cool thing, if you're not a U.S. citizen, is the money from this kind of investment is completely tax-free. So it's really cool if you're in that category. And we've got investors from Shanghai, from Guatemala. So it doesn't matter where you're from. If you can wire the money, and we'll just send you a promissory note. So it might be something that people that family members that really don't have opportunities like this, this kind of investment is tax-free if you're not a U.S. citizen.
Correct.
What about you have a dual citizenship? Can we just stash it out and send it abroad? I just started thinking about it like,
I got your number, Juan. I got your number, man.
Good try.
I'm gonna have grandma. I'm gonna wire it to grandma, and grandma's gonna do the note then.
I'm watching you.
I do like the way you think.
Now we have your name.
Please be sure.
One more point, just to piggyback off of that. One, if you do have other tax concerns for money that's here in the U.S., we have strategies, good, viable, legal, nothing crazy. There's a lot of tax strategies that we help people do to minimize or maybe even totally eliminate their income tax in a legal manner. So if that's ever a concern, Juan, or anybody else on the line, that is a large part of our business and helping people with their financial planning.
Yeah, let me ask you something about that, because I'm here because I'm in real estate. I'm a realtor. I'm also invest in properties. One of the things that I wanted to join, and like I say, Monica, thanks for having us. And I also like to help people. I found myself that if I help people's problems, I get compensated pretty well. I don't go after the money. I go about the problem. One of the problems that we've been facing, especially with my clients in real estate, since the market is so crazy, and that's the way that I'm positioning this, is that not everybody is able to 1031 exchange because the market is so crazy. They're selling their houses. They're going to be sitting in $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 in equity. And not everybody's going to be able to get a house right away. And especially, that's what I tell them. You're not going to be able to 1031 exchange and just have the money dead there. And you're going to be subject to capital gains. So might as well just invest the money into this financial instrument, because you might be able to get a house in 3 months. I mean, I have some clients that are still searching for a year. They just give up, and then they get subject to tax.
Crazy low. Mm-hmm. So I totally agree with you. This is a good opportunity. You can't 1031 into this product, but no.
I'm just saying for people to leverage the capital gains taxes, because I just have somebody that sold their house, just sit down in the debt money. The year just passed. They couldn't 1031. They were subject to capital gains tax, and they lost a lot of their equity because they didn't do anything with their money.
Right.
So in my head, I'm just thinking on my portfolio clients, just might as well just put your money to work into a financial instrument just like this one. until
Totally
you get a
agree.
home,
Totally agree.
So,
especially.
hey, let me jump in, because what we don't want to do, in all due respect, what we don't want to do for everyone else is talk too much about taxes, because there is that's something we love to talk about. We love giving a black eye to the IRS in a legal way.
Of course.
But it's really cool what you're just saying, Juan. We have some instruments that certain people qualify for. Usually you have to be over $200,000 a year in income. But there are some tools that we can use that work better than a 1031 exchange, and that do not involve real estate whatsoever. I'd love to talk to you about that. Monica can set that up later. However, let me say this. If you do have an event where you're stuck with the capital gains, one of the things that one of the real estate accountants I work a lot with, we have used the real opportunity. And so if someone's got, let's say they have an additional $20,000 in taxes that they weren't expecting, guess what? We can put $100,000 into this, and it's going to spin off the money that can pay that tax bill without them having to pay it from regular income. So it's a very powerful way to absorb the taxes if someone's in a situation like that. But so I love talking this language, Juan. You're a real estate dude. I could talk to you all day long. Let's find out what other questions everyone else had, maybe about how to invest, what you can put in. I saw some questions about, can we do it from an LLC? Can we do it from an IRA? What are some other questions you guys have?
David, for how long have been working with, every company have been working with this kind of instrument, with the bridge loans? This is completely new for this panic market. We are just like in shock with this kind of return and everything, but I'm pretty sure they have good experience with that. So for how long they've been working with this?
We have been working with them for about close to 7 years now.
Mm-hmm.
They've used this process of bridge loans for a long, long time, before we ever met them. And so we just came to them with we came to them and we asked them to help. And so we said, hey, we have investors, we want to help you with some projects. And then we began tailoring this, and David was very instrumental in creating, like he indicated earlier, the collateral, because we have done these for years with zero collateral, with just literally just a promise that everything was going to be great.
Personal guarantee.
And so with a lot of people that, again, Monica, frankly, you and audiences like this, you guys haven't worked with us for years. I have some clients that I've known for 20 something years that they were very skeptical on day one, early on in my career. They were like, yeah, what is this? And they do investigation. Now, after 20 years of things working out well, I can just present stuff to them and they say, okay, and we just move on and they do it. But we have a lot of new audiences now that haven't worked with us for decades. And so David added this collateral piece to just add that extra layer of peace of mind to this particular opportunity.
Nice. Thank you, Todd. Any other questions? Guys, Carlos, Nelson, Juan, Bunny, Adri, Moni.
Chicle, maní.
Chicle, maní. Juan asked one question via chat. Can you enter into this agreement as real estate investor, trust, or like LLC?
Kind of broke up on me.
Question.
Was the question that can you enter in as an LLC or something
or trust that? Or
yes, you absolutely can. Yeah. The one thing that we ask is that there's a tax ID that is, unless you're a non-US citizen, then the tax ID kind of goes out the window at that point. But for US citizens, we do require a tax ID or social security number. So LLCs, trusts, all of those things can participate just as they wish.
And if you have an IRA that is totally tied up in the stock market with Edward Jones or any of those guys, Fidelity, we can help you roll that over to a self-directed. I know Juan's familiar with these as someone who's involved in real estate. We can help you roll it over into a self-directed IRA, where then you can choose how to direct your IRA money. which, by the way, is a great idea with the market being at such a place where it's ready to crash. It's a great idea to get out of the market and to invest it in something that's got more protection and more stability and promises. But we can show you how to do that. If you have money sitting around, if you have money sitting in your house, if you have equity in your house, we have people that we work with do a great job getting you a cash out refi where you can take the equity out of your house, put it into a savings account, and do whatever you want to. That doesn't mean go buy a Lexus, okay? But it means you can take it and grow it instead of it sitting stuck in your house, not really growing that much.
And in that case, it would be me helping you guys. I'm
She's a loan officer.
Oh, you're loan officer.
Okay, great,
Okay.
Vanessa. Okay, awesome.
Nice commercial.
People really get very creative with this project. I mean, we know some people that get a personal loan from the bank and with a low interest rate, and then put it here for 9 months, gets the return, pays out of the loan, and it gets like 20-25% rate of return. So it's great.
I've got clients using life insurance to invest in this. So there's all kind of ways to invest into the real opportunity.
Nice. Yes. So any other questions? Maria Claudia, Alvaro? Now we're good. Okay. Carlitos?
Just basically take a look at some of the documentation to follow up and do my own little research in the background.
Sure.
Right.
Did I send you the email, Carlitos?
We have an entire folder. We have an entire folder with all the information. You can look at the appraisal of the land as collateral. We have a copy of the promissory note. We have a copy of the quitclaim deed. Someone just asked, what are the risks? Okay, great question. You should always ask, is it 100% protected by God? No. Okay, so there's some risks. But so the risks are, I want y'all to really think about this because I love this question. You would have to have the real estate market decline rapidly, number one, in 3 months. You would have to have the borrower, the Embry companies, unravel in 3 months. And you would, what else? Am I missing something? That's about it. All of that would have to happen.
Want their money at one time because we
and then everyone asks for their money at the same time.
Probably dry planning disappearing from the planning.
Right. And again, we've been doing this now for 24 years. So again, there's always risk in everything that you do. Could all those things occur? I suppose. But it's highly unlikely that we would ever see all of those things happen at one time.
All in 3 months. Not a whole lot happens in 90 days.
Yeah, that's one thing I was going to say. I don't think just from the real estate market, this is not, 2008 is not going to happen anymore, especially with people having so many equity in their homes. And I think people are used to more riskier instrument. That's what I wanted to join, because honestly, it's pretty skeptical. When you talk these numbers and talking about collateral, it just sounds too good to be true because it's just too secure compared to the other instruments that we had out there. We have done into tax liens that are lastly a lot riskier than this, and people are still invest on this. So that's what I wanted to. From the risk perspective, I understand we have to mitigate risk, but by far, this is probably one of the safest instruments that I have seen so far that I have been exposed with.
Juan, if I could jump in there, it's not that out of the ordinary for real estate developers to make a great deal of money. So this is not out of the ordinary or new. Our wealthiest client by far stretch is a real estate developer. They're personally worth over $300 million. Real estate developers make money. And so this is not an unusual thing.
And Todd, just let me jump in on that. In the brochure, you will look at some of the deals that Embry has done, and you'll see the kind of returns they're getting, okay? This is, by the way, this is not a builder. He's developing the property, and then he's getting it ready, and then he sells it to a builder. This guy's not doing anything from the ground up. So it's not like, oh, he built it, no one wants to buy his apartments. And so, he'll buy a piece of property for $300,000, He'll get it developed, get it zoned, do all the politics and all that. Then he's going to sell it for 1.2 million. Think about that return. Okay. That is very common. And so to have that kind of return, he's willing to pay these kind of rates and to help you enjoy some of the benefits of his own growth. So. But look through the folder, everybody. Please look through the folder, write your questions down. Let's get on the phone and walk through this. I would just challenge everyone. I'm just going to close with this. Todd, you'll like this one, right? That people say, well, why have I never heard of anything like this before? Right? I hear it all the time. And you know what I tell people?
Wants to stay poor. I mean,
you know what I tell people, Juan? I said, well, if you had heard about it before, would you invested in it? Okay.
Yeah.
So the point is, you are hearing about it. It's being presented to you. And so now that's not a reason not to do it. Now it's an opportunity. So, based on your relationship to Monica, do you think she's trustworthy? Do you think she brought you to this meeting with your best interest in mind?
Sketchy. He's sketchy.
She's kind of sketchy. I don't know, kind of sketchy, always. So, but get your feet wet, test the waters.
Send it to my bank account, please.
Yeah. If she's asking you for cash in a brown bag, call me. Okay. But you know what? Just do the minimum investment and give it a ride. Try the waters out and see how it goes. I guarantee you're going to get your money back. And you're going to be a big fan. You're going to be like, dang, I've got a very super hyper high strung client who is super risk averse. And she's already invested in this. She was literally, Todd, telling me about, she got some 0% credit cards. And she's like, let me see about the arbitrage on this. And I'm not even going to go into that right now, but she's getting real creative on how she can enjoy and maximize her profits. So if you try it, you'll be a believer.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Any other questions, guys, before we go?
None. John, I'm going to start attacking everybody's stimulus check so I can start grouping those $10,000 and then we can talk.
Listen, it was great to be. Go ahead, Todd.
One quick thing before we go. I would love for everybody to look us up on social media. And look up at our website is driveplanning.com. Or you can find us on Instagram at Drive Planning LLC, Facebook, Drive Planning. You can look us up and connect with us there. And so you can just, maybe you get a start and get a sense of getting to know us. Again, you can look up David or myself. David's David Bradford. My name's Todd Burkhalter. Connect with us online, and again, just start creating an outside relationship with us that way, in addition to your other research that we're going to send to you.
One day, all of us are going to be in our 60s, and we're all going to be faced with the fear that most Americans, whether from America or moving here or whatever, second generation, most Americans in their 60s are very fearful of one thing, and it's not dying. It's running out of money. Mm-hmm. And guys, I'm telling you right now, my life mission, our life mission is to give you certainty that when you get to that doorway, you will have certainty that your money will not run out and that you will not have to live poor for it to not run out. So we would love the opportunity to talk to you about more than just this one investment, but that is our passion. We want to help people and give them certainty as they think about their money and think about their future, because no one wants to move in with their kids when they're in their 60s and 70s, right?
Right.
Well, I got to go to dinner. Buenas noches.
Buenas noches. Thank you, Todd. Thank you,
Monica.
David.
Thank you so much for the invitation.
You bet.
Thank you.
Good night.
Gracias.
Thank you, guys.
Bye,
You guys have a good night.
everybody.